So if you're here, it means that you've finished your body and you've either gone to 42 centimeters or 47 centimeters. Now for my size, I was supposed to knit to 47 centimeters. But I am actually, I have a short torso because I'm just short in general. And I'm also incredibly lazy, which is why I'm not filming at my desk right now. Because I was only going to be filming for a few minutes and I didn't want to set up everything and do all that. But anyway, here we are. So we are doing our one row of eyelets before we start our purl one, knit one ribbing. So this first row of eyelets, after you finish row 5, which is just the stockinette on the body, is yarn over, knit 2 together. Make sure that you're doing the yarn over first and then your knit 2 together. And we're doing that all the way around. And then when we're all done with that, we start our purl 1, knit 1 ribbing. And we do that for 8 centimeters. Then after we finish our 8 centimeters of our ribbing, then we are going to do another row of eyelets, and then we do row 1 through 5, which is simply garter stitch, which is purl on one row, knit the other row, purl, back and forth like that. So I hope that you're doing well. I hope you're enjoying the pattern. Now, I use the word enjoying lightly. This pattern was a little difficult for me. I've never done this sort of shoulder construction before, the drop shoulder. So this was all new to me. And there were also parts of the pattern that I felt like I didn't understand easily, that I really had to break down. Because it wasn't very obvious to me what the pattern designer was explaining that I needed to do. So I hope that I have been helpful thus far in your journey to knit this pattern. If not, I guess you wouldn't be here, would you? But so I guess what I'll do is I will finish this row and start my purl 1, knit 1 rib, and then I'll check back in with you in a little while and see how you're doing and show you how mine is turning out in the ribbing part at the bottom of the body. And then we'll move on together. And the next time you see me at my desk, it will be when we are about to start our neckline. So I will see you again shortly while we're doing some ribbing. And then I'll see you again soon when we do the neckline. I'm sorry to say that I have lost the video where I began the ribbing and the second eyelet row. I film on my phone and I'm not the most professional tutorial maker out there, but I hope to do much better in the future. And I promise I do get back to my desk for more video very, very soon. This is just a short interlude of some couch knitting. And here I'm showing the eyelet row and how that first row of garter stitch is coming out. So I hope you will continue to join me again once we finish up here and we move on to the next part of the tutorial. So we're at the end here. We did our row of eyelets, and then we have 3 separate rows of purling with 2 rows of knitting in between those, which gives us our row 1 through 5, which is our garter section. And now we're simply binding off. this is the easy bind off. I'm not looking forward to binding off around the neck. And if you've looked ahead in the pattern, you know what's coming. But we will do that part together. Once you're done binding off, even though it would take you like 10 minutes, I'm sure, give your garment a really good shake out and try it on. Make sure, well, obviously you probably would have tried it on by now. Make sure it fits you the way you like, and remember that it's made out of cotton, so it's gonna stretch a little. It's not gonna stretch a bunch like wool would, but this is very heavy if you're doing DK weight cotton or 2 fingerings. This is very heavy by now, at least mine is. So it's gonna pull a bit once we block it. So make sure it fits you the way you like, and I will see you shortly when we start the neck. All right, so on to the neckline. We are about to pick up our neckline, and to do that, based on your size, it's going to tell you how many stitches to pick up. So we are going to start on the right side. We're picking up on the right side, which means we are using our needle and we're picking up with the right side facing us. And we're going to pick up starting on the left hand side of the garment. So right up here on the left shoulder, we're going to pick up all the way around, and you're going to pick up stitches based on what it tells you in the pattern. So for my size, I am going to be picking up 114 stitches. So I've got my new yarn here. I finally had to break into my last 2 skeins. So I caked those up, and you know what, let me grab a little stitch stopper real quick. All right, I wonder if you can hear, it's thundering and raining outside really loud right now. I don't know if you can hear it though. I don't know if my mic is being that awesome. Now it says to pick up a stitch for every row. So we're gonna do just that. Pick up a stitch for every row. Which I'm gonna pick up all the stitches. Every stitch. Now, I guess what I'm doing is just picking up where there's holes. I think though, what I will do is I'm probably going to pick up stitches for the medium size, or for the neck size down, not 114. I think that's what I'm gonna do, because I tried this on and I like that it's a really oversized fit, and basically that just means I pick up 2 stitches less, so I'm not gonna worry about it right now. But I like the oversized fit, but I don't want the neck to be way too loose on me. And if I pick up properly, then I don't think that'll be a problem. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue all the way around, and I'm gonna pick up these stitches, and you continue to pick up yours, and I will see you back here when we're done and we're ready to start our first row, which is going to be a purl row. When you get down here to the front part of the neckline and you're picking up stitches there, that's going to go right over top of where we did the garter at the front of the neckline. Look for your holes underneath your V's to pick up. just like that, underneath your V's. I think that's gonna be the best place to pick up for this area under the neck. And that will give us the cleanest possible look for this area. See how it's already laying nicely? Alright, so I'm gonna go continue to pick up. Alright, I've got all my stitches picked up, and our first row that we start here for our neckline is a purl row. So that first stitch is going to be loose, so kind of give it a good tug, and then we're just going to go all the way around our neckline. I was kind of pulling and stretching those. We're just going to go all the way around our neckline, purling, and create that nice little purl stitch border that you see well. Make sure if you're using 2 strands that you pick up each strand. But we're going to create that nice little purl ridge border that separates the ribbing. Well, that separates the ribbing from the rest of the tee. I'm pretty sure you could hear that. It's actually a very welcomed thunderstorm because we've been having some really high temperatures lately. I think about 2 days ago it was 106 degrees, and ordinarily on those sorts of days I will make excuses to stay inside, but alas, we had something we had to do that day, so we had to go out, and it was miserable. Absolutely miserable. So I am curious. See what I did there? I missed another. I only picked up one. I only purled one. I missed it. So anyway, like I was saying, I am curious what your summer is like where you are, and if now that it's August, if temperatures are going to be starting to cool off for you. Like, when does your fall start? I'm very curious to know. All right, I'm just going to continue going around the neckline for the beginning part here in a purl stitch. And then after we do this, all right, after we purl all the way around, our next row is simply to knit all the way around. So I'm going to finish this purl row, and I'm going to do a knit row, and then I will see you back here when we start our regular ribbing. And we're going to be doing 1 inch of ribbing, or 2.5 centimeters. So I will see you back here shortly. All right, we're about to start our knit 1, purl 1 ribbing. And here we go. So this is just regular old knit 1, purl 1 rib that we usually do for necklines. And we're going to do this all the way around for either 2.5 centimeters if you're metric, or 1 inch if you're not. So I'm glad that the ribbing has come now, because it means that the neckline, like, we're going to finish this neckline today. We're going to be 80%, 85%, 83% done with this top, like today. yesterday I finished the body, and I was so excited when I put it on and tried it on. Well, actually, I steam blocked it first. So I didn't do a full-on blocking, but I did steam block it. And then I threw it on, and I ran into my two daughters' room, which is just such a huge mess right now because we're actually packing. Just find out we're going to be moving very soon. But I ran into their room, and it was late, and my ADHD meds have, already worn off like hours and hours previously. And I started doing this kind of weird hula dance to show off my top. And I don't know why I started doing the weird hula dance, but I was just so happy to have finished the body. I feel like a lot of people who have talked about knitting this top, like they just swim through it. It's so easy, and they knit the whole thing rather quickly. But for me, it just hasn't come so quickly. And I am the type of person, and I don't want to be this type of person, so I'm trying to force myself not to be. But when things get difficult for me, I tend to shut down, and I want to take the quick, easy, lazy way out of things, and I don't want to work for it. And I think that might be why I haven't been such an adventurous knitter over the many years that I've been knitting. But me saying that right now to you is me telling the world that I'm not going to be that way anymore. When I saw that this neckline needed an Italian bind-off, I literally dropped the pattern and threw myself face first onto my bed. I was like, why? Why does it need an Italian bind-off? And the crazy thing is that I've never done an Italian bind-off. I don't even know if it's really difficult yet. I haven't watched any tutorials on it yet. But you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna watch those tutorials, and then I'm gonna get through the 4 rows of slip stitch double knitting, and then we're gonna do this Italian bind off together. And I just want you to know that. So I'm just finishing up here the first round of knit 1, purl 1, rib. And I'm going to keep going, and you are going to keep going, and we are almost there. And we're going to get, do you see the lighting changing? It's because of the storm outside. A few minutes ago, before I started filming again, the power actually shut off. And I was like, oh no, I'm going to have to stop knitting, because I, of course, need to film it, but it came back on. Whoops, missed a strand. So now I have gabbed through this entire first row. Now I'm going to let you go, and I will see you again when we are done with our inch of ribbing and we're ready to do our double knitting. All right, so we've done 2.5 centimeters or 1 inch of ribbing now. So now we're going to do double knitting. So we're going to knit 1, slip 1 in front, or slip 1 purlwise with yarn in front. Knit 1, slip 1 with yarn in front. Knit 1, slip 1 purlwise with yarn in front. Knit 1, slipwise, purl 1 with yarn in front. And we're going to do this all the way around. I apologize again if you can see the changes in the lighting. Electricity is a little wonky right now because of the storm we just had. It's not raining super hard right now, but it is still raining, and electricity is going in and out a little bit. So we're just going to keep doing this all the way around for this row. Then on the second row, we're going to do it the other way, where we're going to slip one purlwise with yarn in front and then knit one. So I'm going to keep going all the way around, and then I'll see you and we'll do the second row. All right, so the next row, we're going to slip one with yarn in back purlwise, and then we're going to bring that yarn forward and purl one. So slip one purlwise with yarn in front and then purl one. Slip one with yarn in back, bring it to the front and purl one. Slip one purlwise, yarn in front, slip one purlwise, yarn in back. Then we bring our yarn to the front and purl. So we're slipping that stitch that we knit on the last one, and we're purling the stitch that's behind. So slip purlwise and then purl. Slip purlwise, then purl. Slip purlwise, and then purl. And we're going to do that all the way around, and we're going to do those two rows 2 more times. So slip purlwise and then purl all the way around. Then we're going to do the last row and this row again another time, and then it will be time to bind off with our Italian bind off. So I will see you at the bind off. All right, we are here and it is time for our Italian bind off. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to cut a length of your yarn. You're going to cut a tail that's about 3 or 4 times the width of what you're sewing up. So I just did like 2 or 3 arms lengths of yarn, and I'm hoping for the best. So here we go. So there's 2 setup stitches that we have to do before we do anything else. So this is going to be our 2 setup stitches, and then we're going to have a set of 4 stitches that we're just going to keep repeating. So the first thing we're going to do is get that back needle out of the way, find your yarn, thread your needle, and I am sorry that my nail polish is uneven and my needle has rust on it. Sorry about that, just the way it is. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to purl. I'm going to insert my needle purlwise into this first stitch, and I'm going to leave it on the needle. So there's going to be a lot of pulling yarn through our stitches. A lot of that. So we purled into that stitch. And now from the back, we're going to come in here from the back, and we're going to go in between this first stitch that we left on and the second stitch. So I'm going to come from the back. I hope you can see. So I've come from behind, and now I am going to insert the needle knitwise. So I'm going to maneuver my needle like I'm knitting, and I'm inserting my needle knitwise into that stitch. If you're using more than one yarn, make sure you haven't split your yarn. So let me show you again. We left this first stitch on. Now we're coming, even though our yarn is right here, we're coming from behind in the center of these two stitches. And we're going to sort of use our needle like a lever here, and we're going to knit into that stitch, coming right up behind it, just like a knit stitch. Okay? And you kind of maneuver it, and then you pull through, and we are leaving this stitch on too. So pull your yarn all the way through. Don't pull it super hard. But there we go. So those were our first setup stitches. And now we're going to start working our 4 repeated stitches. So I've sort of written myself down a little script because you know I get sidetracked. So I'm going to do my best to follow my script here. So we're going to work 4 repeated stitches that are worked in pairs. And so when you're looking at your work here, we're going to work the knit stitches together, and we work them first, and then we work the purl stitches. We work those together, and we do those second. Okay, so first knit stitch, first knit stitch, second knit stitch, first purl stitch, second purl stitch. All right, so step number 1, we're going to insert our needle knitwise into that first knit stitch, and we're going to pull it off and pull through. Pull your yarn through. All the way through. That was pretty easy. So now the second knit stitch, which is right here, we're going to insert purlwise into that stitch, and we're going to pull our yarn through, and we're going to leave that stitch on. And you might need to like sort of adjust your stitch there. You know, just kind of make it look a little bit less wonky. Okay, so now we're going to take our needle again, and now we're working in the purl stitches. So we're going to insert purlwise into our first purl stitch right here and pull it off and pull our yarn through. Okay, so now we're going to insert knitwise into our second purl stitch, but we're going to once again come in between. So we're coming from the back in between those 2 stitches, and we're going to insert our needle knitwise into that purl stitch. So we kind of maneuver with this needle. So if you need to, kind of hold your work away from you a bit. So we're going to come in between those 2 stitches and say, "Excuse me, please." But then we're going to insert knitwise. And we're going to leave this stitch on. Okay. If you're familiar with the Kitchener stitch, it's similar. It is not quite the Kitchener, but it's similar. So let's do that again. So insert knitwise, Step number 1, insert knitwise, and we're pulling it off. And you can go ahead and pull your yarn through. But if it's helpful for you, you can pull your yarn through like every 2 stitches. It may be more helpful that way. Step number 2, we're going to be working into our second knit stitch here. So we're going to insert purlwise into that second knit stitch. Purlwise, leave on. Okay, now we're working into our purl stitches. So now we enter purlwise into the first stitch and we pull that off and pull your yarn through. Okay, and then we're working into the next purl stitch here, and we're going to come from behind in between those 2 stitches, and you say, "Excuse me, please," and then we're going to knit into that purl stitch in between those 2 stitches, and we leave that stitch on. Okay, so we are working, let's see, there we go. This is our knit. See our knit right there? That's our knit row. And then we have our purl stitch in between. You can see the purl bump down here. Then we have another knit row and another stitch with a purl bump. So we are knitting into, well, we work the 2 knit stitches first, and then we work the 2 purl stitches. So here we go again. We're going to insert knitwise and take the stitch off. Now we are going to work on our second purl stitch, and we're going to insert purlwise into that knit stitch and leave it on. Now we're going to insert purlwise into our first purl stitch and take it off. Now we are coming from behind in between our second knit stitch and our second purl stitch, and then we're going to say, "Excuse me, please," and we're going to knit into that purl stitch, and we leave that on. Okay, so when you're done with that, your stitches look a little wonky, but that's okay. Insert knitwise and take it off. Insert purlwise into the second knit stitch. Pull through. Now, insert purlwise into the first purl stitch and take it off. Now we come behind and excuse ourselves while we knit into that purl stitch and we leave it on. So with our 4 stitches, the first one we pull off, the second one we leave on, the third one we pull off, the fourth one we leave on. One more time together. And I will tell you too that if my way of doing this is not helpful, I really apologize. There are some really great Italian bind-off tutorials out there who could probably teach you a lot better, but I said we would do this together, so by God, we're doing it together. So insert knitwise off, and then our second knit stitch, we purl and leave on. Okay, and then our first purl stitch, we purl it off, and then we swing around to the back in between those two stitches, excuse ourselves, and knit into that back stitch. And we leave that on. Pull some of this tail out. There we go. Okay. One more time. Knit and pull it off. And then we're going to go into our second knit stitch here, and we're going to purl and leave it on. Now we're going to do a little swingy thing with these next two stitches. We're going to swing and excuse ourselves. So we're going to purl it off, and while we purl it off, we're going to swing around in between those two stitches and excuse ourselves while we knit into that stitch. And we leave it on. Okay? Knit off, second knit stitch, purl on. Whoops. Now we're going to do our little swing, purl it off, and swing around in between those two stitches and excuse ourselves while we politely knit into that purl stitch. And we leave it on. Do this one more time. And we knit. That's not a knit. We insert knitwise and pull it off. And then our second knit stitch here, we enter purlwise and leave it on. Now we're going to enter purlwise into our first purl stitch, and we're going to swing it around in between those two stitches and excuse ourselves politely and knit into that second purl stitch and leave it on. All right, we're just going to keep doing that the whole way around, which is forever and a day more, because this is all we've done so far. And we have all of this left to go. That's what we've done. All that left to go. So if you sort of kind of use a little catchy kind of way of doing it there, some people can remember what to do with the knitwise drop, purlwise on, purlwise drop, knitwise on, but I need something a little bit more exciting because that sounds too much like Kitchener to me. So knitwise off, purlwise on, purlwise off, and swing around to the back in between those two stitches and excuse ourselves as we knit into that purl stitch. All right, so we're just going to keep going, and I'm going to keep going, and when you get to the last two stitches, you simply knit off, purl off, and then you just weave in your end there. And yeah, we should be good to go. So we will be done with our neckline, and I will see you again shortly so that we can pick up the sleeve and get this thing done. Okay, bye-bye. Look what we did. Isn't it so lovely? Oh, that is the prettiest bind off for a 1x1 rib I have ever seen. And I cannot believe that I did that. We did that. We did it together. Oh, look at that. It's so pretty. Okay, enough celebrating. Let's move on to the sleeves. So the sleeve, I went ahead and I picked up the stitches and I knit my first sleeve. So now I thought that I would pick up stitches on the second sleeve and we could do that together. So we're almost done. I'm super excited, and I was able to knit the sleeve in about I put it down a couple times during the day, but it like total knitting time took me about 3 hours for the sleeve. So I'm hoping to finish this thing today. So on the sleeve, it'll tell you in the pattern how many stitches you need to pick up for your size. And I recommend you really trying to pick up that many stitches. Don't try to make it too small or pick up over that amount of stitches, because it all matters when it comes to your pattern. So getting the pattern right all the way around. And we do 3 section repeats, and we end with rows 1 through 5. And that gives us our garter stitch edge and our nice bind off. And this is a regular bind off, so no crazy Italian bind offs here. So for my size, I am meant to pick up 86 stitches. And how I did that, because picking up stitches is a little bit difficult for me because I don't like doing the math to figure out how many stitches I need to pick up in a certain area. So I had to do a little bit of math. And so what I did was I separated my area that I need to pick up in. I separated it out with 4 light bulb pins. And so within each of those areas, I have to pick up 22 or 23 stitches or 21 stitches. I don't remember. So I pick up 43 stitches on each side. So on the one side I pick up 46, and on the other side I pick up 46. So I tried to divide that into 4. And I did have to do it maybe 3 times. So I tried to make sure that, oh, this isn't the right place. So as I got to the middle part here, I just tried to make sure that I had the right amount of stitches here, so that I would have 43 when I got to the top. So we pick up our stitches just like we always pick up stitches. So you're going to start at the bottom of the back, and we just find the V, and we're going to be picking up stitches through there. So then you just grab your yarn and you pick up your stitches through that V. And if that's a little bit difficult for you, you can use a crochet hook. So I am going to just go ahead and start picking up my stitches. Whoops, without doing that. I'm going to go ahead and start picking up my stitches, and it's pretty, the pattern is very self-explanatory. The stitches, the sleeves are not difficult like some of the other parts of the pattern. You just pick up stitches and you have to make sure that you have the right number of stitches, and then you just follow the pattern. Now on the pattern, it gives you the modifications for rows 10 and row 12, and you just make sure that you follow the instructions there. That's it. And then it tells you how many centimeters to work, and it shows in the pictures how many chart repetitions you work, and it's 3 chart repetitions. If you want to make your sleeves larger or longer, you can do that. If you want to make them shorter, I've seen pictures on Ravelry with people who did them with 2 repetitions. I went ahead and did 3 for mine because I like a longer short sleeve. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to pick up my stitches. And she also says that to pick up approximately 2 stitches for every 3. I found that didn't really work for me. So I found that I just needed to wing it. So I winged it, and that's what worked out for me. And you do what you need to do, and do you, boo. All right, just make sure you have enough stitches picked up. And once we get our stitches picked up, we'll go ahead and start knitting our pattern. And we start with, just like these, we start with the stockinette section, and then we just go on from there. We follow row 10 and row 12 as she has outlined in the pattern for the sleeve section. All right, and now we're blocking, and we'll see how this works out. I hope you can see. So here it is. There's people walking by. I chose the perfect time to set up this morning. So it's really, really oversized. And that is my fault because I've lost about 20 pounds, maybe 18 to 20 pounds since I started knitting this. And I knit a size large because I just wanted to be sure it was going to be oversized. And I always feel like I'm bigger than what I am. So it is really big. And when I originally finished knitting it, I had done the 3 sections on the arm, like it shows in the pattern. And I had bound them off, and when I tried it on, I just realized that was way too long. So I frogged back and just made the arm 2 sections. So I really like how the neckline looks from the Italian bindoff. I think I found my new favorite bindoff for necklines now. I do not really care too much about it for the bottoms of hems or sleeves, but something like the neckline, I think that's going to be my go-to. But I mean, this is it. So because I have a chest, it kind of rides up in the front here and makes it lower in the back. And that's not a horrible thing. It's not a bad thing. So my husband and my kids remind me all the time that I have bad posture. And so the other day when we were taking pictures, we were trying to do like pictures in the wild, right? Well, all my pictures have me slumped over like this. There was one where I was walking and I literally looked like Bigfoot. Yeah. So I'm trying to remind myself to put my shoulders back. And so that does kind of push the girls out a little bit and makes this come up a bit more. I wish now that I had knit another section of the pattern here. Originally, when I did the video and I was talking about knitting that section, I said I omitted it because I was lazy, and that was the truth. I was lazy and I omitted the last section of this part of the pattern just because I just wanted to get to the finish line quicker. And I regret that now because I think I would like it better if it was a little bit lower here. I've already blocked it. I steam blocked it. I didn't wet block this thing.
It just feels like way too much cotton for me to try and do that, and it's very humid here and very hot, and so I'm afraid it'll get moldy. So, but this is what it looks like. It's very oversized, but, and at first when I put it on, I wasn't sure if I liked it. I was like, oh man, I did all this work and I don't like it. And then I wore it for 4 days straight. I mean, obviously I have a shirt on underneath it and I shower in between, but 4 days straight. And then I realized I really like this baggy, oversized fit. It's definitely my aesthetic. And I love this yellow color. I don't have anything yellow like this in my wardrobe. And so I feel like it's a very summery, very spring color. And I feel like it complements my hair too, my auburn hair. So I don't know. Tell me what you think. But so here it is, all finished. Yeah, I would have liked it better, I think, if I had knit a medium. But at the time, I just felt like thinking about my body, I always feel like my body is a bit bigger than what it is. And so I was like, oh, medium will be too small. But so I knit the large. Now I wish I had knit a medium because I'm still losing weight. I have about 10 pounds to go until I hit my goal weight. So it'll be even more oversized then. But that's okay. It is super, super comfy and I'm really enjoying it. And yeah, so maybe I will give it like another block, like just maybe like a wet block here in the front to see if I can get it to like lay down or drop any further. But if not, it is not a deal breaker for me. I really like this top. I just have to constantly remind myself to put my shoulders back, because if you sloop, if you like hunch your shoulders when you walk, it does the drop shoulder of it does sort of like accentuate a rounded back of your shoulder area. So push those arms back, ladies. That's what I'm doing. Anyway, so this is it. The Lacey Loop tee. And I hope you are enjoying yours as much as I'm enjoying mine. And I will continue to enjoy this sweater. I don't think of this as a t-shirt. I think of it as like a spring summer sweater. But I wear sweaters all year long, even here in super hot, humid Georgia, Florida. So this is definitely going to get lots of wear. I really like it. Would I knit it again? Hell no. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. And if you liked this tutorial, if it helped you in any way, please give me a thumbs up. Please thumbs up all the tutorials. Let me know in the comments down below if you've knit this sweater with me and how you're feeling about yours. And if you would like to see more tutorials in the future, please let me know and give me your suggestions, all right? Thank you so much for watching.